Welcome to Oschersleben for the second race of the opening round of the ADAC TCR Championship. The ADAC TCR Germany, a really great first race we had with Jessica Backman taking the victory after a hard-fought battle with Martin Anderson. All change, it must be said, for this race, and that will become clear as we go through the grid for this one. Things looking a little bit different than they did earlier on in terms of where certain cars are positioned. But the one thing that does remain consistent, as you can see from this vantage point, is Martin Anderson on pole. It's also Martin Anderson at the top of the TCR Germany driver classification because of his result earlier on, in the Saturday qualifying, I should say, and indeed the Sunday qualifying. He's had 2 pole positions, so even though he didn't win yesterday, the points he accrued from the 2 qualifying sessions means he is our championship leader by some 7 points. So even with not taking a win yet, he is our championship leader. He will have to deal with Jonas Karklees on the front row with him in this drag race to turn 1 that will take place in just a few moments' time. Jonas in the Hyundai i30N TCR, a car that Anderson knows well from the 2021 season. And Anderson will be hoping to get a better start when we go racing in just a couple of minutes' time, because his start in race 1 is ultimately what cost him the victory from pole. It was a really poor start. He ended up as far back as 4th place, if memory serves me correctly, and it didn't really go much better from there. But Anderson, a hot favourite for the championship coming into this year. Luca Engstler, of course, the reigning champion from 2021. We now see him in the ADAC GT Masters. Not only did we see him, but we saw him on the podium earlier on today here at Oschersleben. Big congratulations to Luca Engstler as he continues to adapt to the world of GT3 competition. Here in the TCRs, though, we take a look at the starting grid. And it is Anderson and Karklees on the front row of the grid. Martin Anderson will be hoping to get the whole shot into turn 1. Rene Kirscher is next in the first of the Rocha Motorsport by ASL Lichtbau cars, and then Simon Ladniak alongside him. Then it's Albert Legutko alongside Roland Hertner. Pair of Hondas on row 3 of the grid. Hondas of varying generations. Legutko in the slightly older car. Patrick Singh is next in his racing entry, Hyundai, the 34 car alongside Vincent Rademacher for Maurer Motorsport. Max Grun is next in the Audi, the newer of the Audi RS3s. The slightly older car of Kai Rosowski is alongside him. Michael Maurer is next in 11th place on the grid. Robin Yar alongside him. You may have noticed a missing name to this point, and that is because Jessica Backman has unfortunately only done 1 or 2 laps in qualifying. Understand it was an issue with fuel, potentially simply just not enough of it in the car, unfortunately. And that left Jessica to qualify last for this race. So our winner from yesterday is going to have to do a lot of work to even get onto the podium for race 2. We'll see whether she can achieve that here. Formation lap coming to a close. Martin Anderson leading the field down to the grid. Jonas Karklees following. So the Liqui Team Engstler entry. That team have been so competitive and such a consistent proponent of the ADAC TCR Germany. They're certainly looking like hot favourites this year, but it's not gone entirely to plan, thanks to Jessica Backman in the Rocha Motorsport Hyundai Veloster. That's new for 2022. The lights are ablaze, and we are underway here for race 2 of the ADAC TCR Germany. A great start from Albert Legutko from row 3. He may well end up in second, if not third place. But look at Karklees as well. Very good in the I-30N. Wasn't quite late enough on the brakes to challenge for the lead. So it is Anderson that takes the lead as they run through the first couple of corners for the very first time. Anderson from Karklees from Legutko. A very good start from the Honda driver, the number 77 car. The older FK2 generation Honda Civic, still proving very strong in the hands of the Polish-born driver. The Veloster Ns are making their way through the order. Robin Jahr there in the car with some of the black detailings on has already managed to get up to 9th place. Meanwhile, Jessica Backman, I think, is already up to 7th. So Backman, who won the race yesterday, making good progress through the field, and she will feel she needs to. In fact, she is down in 8th place rather than 7th, so still some way to go. She's now back towards the competitive end of the field, and the overtakes are only going to get harder from there. Legutko under pressure from Rene Kirscher. A little bit of a gravel excursion, but no harm, no foul. Kirscher looking to the inside at the final corner. Now these 3 cars all have the red stickers on the side of the car, the red numbers, and that's because they're all in the junior class. So as well as the battle for 3rd place, 3rd, 4th and 5th is also the battle for the junior honours. So keep an eye on that element of the race too. Rene Kirscher pressuring the Polish-born Albert Legutko. It's his 3rd season in TCR Germany, having jumped up from Renault Clio Cup prior to that. Kirscher. Robin Jahr is in, and is that a puncture? Very much looks like it. I did think that Robin was looking a bit slow, and unfortunately for the ADAC Motorsport team, they are going to have to get that car, I think, taped up a little bit, as well as get some new rubber on the car. Of course, Hankook coming in as the tyre supplier for this series in 2022. Great to have them aboard as we take a look back at the replay, and it was a good start from Legutko, a good start from both of the Hyundai Velosters of the Rocker stable as well. But it was Anderson that took the lead. Let's ride on board with Backman then to get a better impression of that start. And actually Robin, I think, maybe got a slightly better start. Robin Jahr from just a position ahead. It was a nightmare qualifying for both of the Velosters from the ADAC Motorsports crew. See if we can maybe, I was wondering if we're going to stay with it long enough to see what happened to Robin to get the puncture. But you see there, everyone just about cleanly through the first couple of corners here at Oschersleben. We now ride on board with Simon Ladniak in the Liqui Team Extra Honda Civic, the sister car to Hertner behind, as well as our race leader Anderson in the 19. And this 3rd place battle has the whiff of an all-race long affair about it, as they turn through 8, 9 and 10 here at Oschersleben, a spectacular place to watch cars go through at speed. My first visit to the track, and I had to make sure I got a view of that. It's an incredible place. I thoroughly recommend a trip to that spectator bank on the outside of turn 10 if you ever visit Oschersleben. Legutko under a lot of pressure here from Rene Kirscher. Kirscher, who's also running under the ADAC Motorsport banner, and dives up the inside. Gets the position from Legutko. Very well executed move there from the German driver. And Legutko may be under more pressure as well, because here comes Ladniak up the inside into turn 1. It's Civic versus Civic, generation versus generation. Legutko, though, holds on around the outside at turn 1. That becomes the inside for turn 2. Solid driving from Ladniak, but Legutko just about managed to hold on to it. All of that drama between the two Civics has rather released Rene Kirscher, I feel. Just taking a look back at the move there. Brave on the brakes there from Rene Kirscher. Sorry. The Roca Motorsport car is up to 3rd place then. And you will note that unlike his two teammates, he is still using the i30N TCR, which is the original of the TCR Hyundais. The Veloster has been around for a while. It's only just making a kind of full-time arrival into Europe, having been the North American Hyundai TCR variant for several seasons. Legutko under immense pressure from Simon Ladniak here. Roland Hurtner, he's the leader in the trophy class for the gentleman drivers, the drivers with greater tenure, let's say. The only other driver in trophy here today is the Holden Astra TCR, being driven by Rademacher. We had a quick look at that car a moment ago. I'll tell you more about those Astras as the race wears on, but for now, it's an all-Honda battle for 4th position as Legutko continues to hold off Ladniak. FK2 variant of the Civic TCR has been in the various TCR series from day 1. Was there at the very first race for TCR ruled cars several years ago. Here's Jessica Backman then in the Roca Motorsports Veloster, closing in on Roland Hurtner. Hurtner, who has taken a few touring car championships in his long time racing. Ladniak to the inside, meanwhile. Side by side between them at turn 11 and 12. Legutko, I think a little bit of a hip check between the two of them potentially, but Ladniak has to bide his time a little bit longer. Legutko doing a great job here. Hurtner still ahead of Backman as well. Oh, Rademacher looking a little bit bold there in the Holden Astra. As to the inside again goes Ladniak. I thought it was a bit of a brave one. He wasn't really far enough alongside to challenge on that occasion, and you rather get the feeling that Jessica Backman is desperate to get past Hurtner. This is a circuit where overtaking can be challenging, especially if you're against a driver that knows how to play their cards right. And Hurtner certainly is well into that category. He's spent a long time at the wheel of racing cars. If memory serves me correctly, 2010 he took the ADAC Pro Car Championship. Ladniak there with a little bit of tyre over-rotation, let's say. I think it was coming out of turn 7. Sounded like he was struggling for traction on the curbs, but no real issue. Oh, had a little look to the inside there, but decides against it. Backman closing in. Jessica doing everything she can here to try and get past the 6th place car, the number 9, Roland Hurtner, and Backman up the inside. It's going to be a drag race to the first corner, and I suspect it's one that the Veloster would win, although Hurtner didn't actually get that bad of a run out of the corner. Just getting ahead is Jessica Backman, though. You saw there about halfway along the straight, the Veloster just started to surge forward and eventually clear of Roland Hurtner. So Backman up to 6th position. What a wonderful week it's been for female racers in TCR competition. Jessica Hawkins with a victory in TCR UK at Alton Park on Monday. And then yesterday, a similar triumph for Jessica Backman here at Oschersleben. Unfortunately, qualifying not going to plan for Jessica. But she's fighting her way through the order nicely. And there you see the drag race to the line eventually. I think Hurtner, more than anything, just wanted to avoid the side-by-side. He was a bit earlier on the brakes than standard. Now, we refocus on the leaders, and at the moment, the leader is Anderson. By 1.8 seconds. Originally it was 3 point something, but it's 1.8 seconds between himself and the pursuing Jonas Karklis at this point. Rene Kirscher is still very much there in 3rd place as well, just 0.8 of a second between the 2nd and 3rd place cars. And this battle hasn't really calmed down either. Legutko and Ladniak still at close proximity, and it looks like a puncture there for the Audi of Max Grun. That's hugely unfortunate. There's a lot of carbon fibre and a lot of debris around the circuit after quite a hectic and, let's say, physical GT4 race earlier. I just wonder whether that's playing a part. You see the tyre already down by the time they get to turn 1. And Grun, newest spec RS3 TCR, will unfortunately not be a factor in the overall results here. May get back out on circuit if they wish, but certainly not going to do more than score some very basic points. Ladniak continues to stalk Legutko. There will be a bit of pressure on the driver of the 77 to... Or rather, I should say, a bit of pressure on the driver of the 21 to get around the 77. Legutko in older machinery, in a team of his own, really. The team is quite literally named after him. It's Albert Legutko Racing. It's a smaller entity than the Liqui-Moly Team Engstler crew. As just going a lap down there is Mara in one of the Holden Astras. That's Michael Mara going a lap down. Continues to get to grips with the Astra TCR. On the attack, meanwhile, by the looks of it, is Rene Kirscher. Jonas Karklis hopping over the curbs at 13 and 14. Pit entry very much a part of the circuit. Saw that a few times in some of the pit stop races earlier. Just how liberal the use of that pit entry is. And is that a switch for position? Yes, it is. Legutko has been demoted by Ladniak. So Ladniak has got up to 4th position, and now Jessica Backman is on a mission to try and get past Legutko too. Now, we know Albert. He's been with us now for 2 full seasons. This is his 3rd. We know he doesn't see that kind of thing happen without delivering a retort all of his own. Let's see how Legutko retaliates to that. And the Karklees-Kirscher battle ongoing as well. Kirscher's been looming large in the mirrors for a few laps. Here's a replay of the move for P4. Ladniak making the move he's kind of threatened to make on at least 2 or 3 occasions, up the inside at T11. Otherwise known as the shell curve, and a flash of the headlights from René Kirscher, who once again is taking up an overwhelming majority of Jonas Karklees' attention. That 27 car is certainly being driven through the mirrors at this stage. Bit of a lock-up there from Karklees, but that shouldn't hinder him at all. Kirscher's obviously been in the wars a little bit in this race, as you can see the wheel arch coming away from the number 8 car a bit. Looked like the battle for 4th place was getting closer as well, so I wonder if Ladniak is going to be under increased pressure further back. The 2 Hyundais, though, forming an orderly queue, and Jessica Backman having a look at Albert Legutko. Oh, it's difficult to find room for 2 through 8, 9 and 10. They just about did it, and Legutko cutting the track there, but didn't really have any other choice. Might be penalised for that one. Didn't make up an advantage. Backman making more use of the sausage curve, carrying more speed through 11. And all of this is bringing Roland Hurtner potentially back into proceedings as well. Hurtner's been steadily closing in. I just wonder whether Legutko, pushing on to hold off Ladniak, has maybe just started to lose his tyres here, because it doesn't feel like his pace is quite what it was 3 or 4 laps ago. Here we see another view of that moments at 8, 9 and 10. And this is a great camera angle. Thankfully, the camera hasn't yet bit the dust. We've still got 12 minutes of racing, though. Legutko and Backman fighting for 5th. A flash of the headlights. And the driver of the Veloster. Incidentally, Robin Jarre is still going around the circuit in the other Veloster, but he's a lap down in 12th place after his puncture. The leading of the ADAC Motorsports Hyundais is the car we see here in 3rd place, René Kirscher, and he does not appear satisfied with that P3. He's been hounding Karklees for the majority of this race. Meanwhile, we haven't mentioned... Oh, Legutko off circuit, and that looks to me like another puncture or potentially a suspension issue. I think it may actually be the latter, but Legutko off circuit at turn 12. That Honda is going no further, and looking at the way that car was pointing in all sorts of directions, I get the impression that was a suspension failure. Yellow in turn 12, of course, and the battle between Karklees and Kirscher continues, but Karklees locking up there. That could be the opportunity for Kirscher. I thought maybe Karklees was going to run out wide there, but he was very careful to hug the apex as best he could. And Legutko's car just spearing off track there. We've gone to safety car conditions. Let's see if we can keep an eye on that front right tyre. No, we can't. I reckon That was more suspension than tyre for Albert Legutko, unfortunately. You can see in the body language of Legutko, who we just got to the left of camera there for a moment, you can see in the body language just how disappointed he is. And we did say earlier on that Legutko, it's very much a small operation that runs that car along with Albert, and hopefully he has the spares to get the car back out in a few weeks' time. The next race for ADAC TCR Germany, or the next weekend for ADAC TCR Germany, takes us to Austria, the Red Bull Ring. So he's got just under a month to get the car ready, and hopefully they've got the spares they need for that. So safety car out, as we said, and based on the evidence from earlier races, I'd expect at least a few more laps of racing yet. At least 5 minutes. The Audi R8 leading the cars around. Just to pick up on the Holden Astra, as you've heard me say a few times. The Holden Astras from the Maurer Motorsport camp. That is perhaps known in Europe as either an Opel or a Vauxhall, but the two cars in question from Maurer Motorsport came over from Australia. They were purchased from Australia, so they were Holden badged from day one, and effectively they just decided to roll with the punches. They decided we'll keep using the Holden name, the Holden badge. Here we see again, yeah, that's suspension, I think, rather than a puncture. You can see the air's still there. Sure that if it was just a puncture, the Legutko would have limped around to get a tyre back on the car. So unfortunately a failure for Albert in the 77. But just to circle back round to the Opel, to the Holden I should say. Of course it has traditionally been labelled as a Opel Astra TCR in TCR Germany. However, some discussions from the safety car there. Well, I don't know what they're saying, but hopefully it's nothing too obscene. But yes, the Holden Astra TCR, they decided to keep the Holden badging on the car, enter them as Holdens, and I think part of that motive is because, of course, the Holden brand no longer exists. Announced at the start of 2020 that the Holden brand would be discontinued, plug-pulled by General Motors. And so the legacy of Holden continues here in ADAC TCR Germany with the pair of Maurer Motorsport Astras. So I hope this will be our final lap of safety car that we start now. Best case scenario now, we get 3 more laps of racing. Of course, Anderson will be less than impressed with this safety car, given he had a fairly comfortable advantage over Karklees and Kirscher prior to the safety car's deployment. Things are now somewhat less comfortable. Of course, it's a single file restart. Car 22 under investigation, overtaking safety car. That's Robin Jar, who's potentially going to face the wrath of the stewards. Overtaking under safety car, of course, very much not allowed. But moreover, it's one of those things that's rather cut and dry, isn't it? It either happened or it didn't. And I'm sure they will very quickly determine whether a penalty needs to be issued. But yes, Anderson will lead off the single file restart whenever it may come. We still haven't got the notification that the safety car is in on this lap. So one has to anticipate that it's going to be at least one more lap now, because we're at turn 11. Unless the decision is made in the next 2 or 3 seconds, it's going to be one more lap under safety car. And the car's not even up on the crane yet, so it's going to be another lap or two. So Legutko's in fairly deep discussions with the recovery crew there, and there we see that moment from a few laps ago between Legutko and Backman, as Jessica had a nose on the inside. Legutko had no way of getting around the corner. Then 2 or 3 laps later, Legutko peeling off the circuit with what looks to be a broken toe link or something of that description. Quite surprised that they haven't simply pushed the car behind the Armco, but hopefully we can get this race back underway. It's 2 minutes and 40 seconds of the race left to run. So Anderson obviously raced a Hyundai last year with Team Engstler. They've moved over to Honda for 2022. And he would be looking to add more silverware to what's already a very full silverware shelf at Liqui Moly Team Engstler. Max Hesse won the title in 2019 with the crew. Antti Buri won it in 2020, and of course Luca Engstler took the title last year. They've now moved over to Honda, and their impervious run of form looks to be continuing, and unfortunately I think this race is going to continue and ultimately end under safety car if we're not very careful. Certainly looks like that's the way it's going. Still no progress as to the recovery of Albert Legutko. Certainly disadvantages Jessica Backman, who was getting through the order. Unfortunately, 5th place may well be the height of her climb, but still, from 13th on the grid is not a bad run at all from Jessica Backman, who should be one of the primary challengers to Martin Anderson in this 2022 ADAC TCR season. The poor qualifying owing to some sort of fuel issue. But she's recovered it well and will score solid points in this race. Anderson was leading the championship by 7 coming into this race because he's had 2 pole positions this weekend, and the qualifying session is point scoring here in the ADAC TCR Germany. So even before this race, Anderson had a solid advantage. Now, safety car is in this lap, and we do get +1 lap, so we are going to have a 1-lap dash for the cash. I feared this race would end under safety car, but we are going to get one more lap of racing, and it's going to be Martin Anderson on the defensive from the entire field, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be brilliant. Let's see Anderson with a really good pickup there. Got on the throttle and caught Karkley snapping. That could be the race-winning moment there. Let's wait and see, though. Anderson with a good few car lengths over Karkley in second place. Kershaw a little way back from Karkley. They've been welded together all race long. And Ladniak is going to have to find the widest possible setting on his Honda Civic, because Jessica Backman on the attack as they run through T2. Backman has not gotten through at this point. She looks to the outside here at Hasselrode. Turn 3. And Karkley's on the defensive because look at Rene Kershaw. He's on the move. Kershaw's been lining up the overtake practically all race long. Can he finally do it and move up to second place on the very last lap of the action? Ladniak under pressure from Jessica Backman as well. And also the trophy class lead being contested behind. That's 6th overall, Roland Hurtner and Vincent Rademacher. They're fighting for 6th overall and the trophy class win, so keep an eye on that as well. But it's Anderson running through 11 and 12 for the final time. The Liqui Team Extler Honda Civic leading the way. And it will be the first win in ADAC TCR Germany for the combination of Liqui Team Extler, the Honda Civic, and the Danish driver within, Martin Anderson. It's a great result for him as he extends his championship lead. Karkley takes second ahead of Kershaw. Ladniak crosses the line in 4th. Backman has to settle for 5th place. And Roland Hurtner, despite a scare on the last lap with a competitive showing from Rademacher, takes 6th and the trophy win. Spot of rally crossing from Malra there at the final corner, but will cross the line in the Holden Astra TCR. Well, I'm very glad we got one more lap of racing. And here we see, oh, that's a very strange off there. Just carried far too much speed into the final corner, did the Swiss driver. But Michael Maurer found some traction in the gravel, thankfully, and at least managed to take the checkered flag. Brilliant result from Martin Anderson in the FK7 TCR. That Honda Civic, I always want to call it the new one, but it's been out racing for 3 or 4 years now. And Engstler, such a decorated team in ADAC TCR Germany. And Martin Anderson thriving here at Oschersleben. We'll have to see whether that momentum follows him into the Red Bull Ring next month. Is a bit of an Austrian excursion for ADAC TCR Germany in the next couple of months. The 20th to 22nd of May at the Red Bull Ring, and the Salzburg Ring the 17th through 19th of June. And there you see Anderson weaving across the line to take the win. The first Team Engstler win of the Honda era. At various points, Team Engstler have been associated with Alfa, BMW, and more recently Hyundai, but now moving into the Honda camp and doing a great job with it as well. Of course, when I mention the likes of Alfa and BMW, I'm talking well back from the TCR era. We're discussing the 2000s and into the 90s there. The Team Engstler crew with a lot of history. And another chapter could well be written by Martin Anderson, who eventually took the win by just 2 seconds. Jonas Karklees took second place in the Nord Pass entry. René Kirscher taking third. Ladniak, Backman, Hertner, Rademacher and Singh, your top 8. Running through the order quite quickly there, as Jessica Backman took 5th place. Roland Hertner took P6. Rademacher in the 11 car taking 7th overall and 2nd in the trophy class behind Hertner. Here are the points then. A 15-point advantage after round 1 for Anderson. He's happy. And justifiably so. 15 points. A solid advantage and getting wonderful praise from the entire team. Handshakes all round in the Team Engstler camp. And good mutual respect between Karklees and Anderson as well. Warm work. I'm sure that Anderson was eager to go racing, but a one-lap dash is never the most comfortable situation to lead in. There you go.
Boring race, huh?
Some post-race analysis from the Engstler crew, and as René Kirscher racing for ADAC Motorsport. Of course, he is the only ADAC Motorsport entrant that runs the i30N. The other two now the Velosters, the coupe shape, almost Hyundai TCR. There's also the Hyundai Elantra TCR. There's plenty of variation when it comes to Hyundai body shapes in the world of TCR competition. And posing for the picture is Anderson. Anderson, number 1. And he will now go up to the podium and receive the plaudits for his victory here at Oschersleben. It's been a fabulous weekend of action across all categories. The TCR race went like this, with René Kirscher finishing in 3rd and taking the junior class win. 2nd place went to Jonas Karklees. A really good result from the Nord Pass Hyundai driver. But it was Martin Anderson who showed everyone the way today. 2 pole positions and a win for Martin Anderson in round 1 of the 2022 ADAC TCR Germany. He rolls into the Red Bull ring as the ringmaster. And so there's another look at the points. 15 clear of Jonas Karklees. Jessica Backman with that poor qualifying. Of course, points paying in qualifying. So Backman, despite her fabulous result yesterday, sits 3rd in the points. René Kirscher a solid 4th. And out of the top 8, unfortunately, Albert Legutko after that failure for him. But Anderson, the commanding advantage in the championship. There we see the order in full. So hopefully, as the season progresses, we get more battles like the ones we saw out of Karklees and Kirscher and Ladniak and Backman. Certainly plenty to keep our attention in race 2 from the ADAC TCR Germany. The TCR concept has been going from strength to strength since its foundation in 2015. So many different manufacturers taking interest in TCR competition. Another chapter of success when it comes to customer racing programs, ever more prolific. Of course, Franz Engstler has been on the ground floor for decades of German touring car competition in the various forms it has taken, and a huge supporter of the ADAC TCR Germany. Being welcomed to the podium now is René Kirscher. A solid result for him from Roca. The Nordpass Hyundai, though, pipped him to the post eventually. Well done, Mr. Karklees. But it's this man, Martin Andersson, who gets the biggest cheer and claims the first ever Engstler Honda win. And a team representative getting the honour of joining them on the podium from Liqui-Moly. Engstler. Here's the national anthem. And so there we go. Here come the podium presentations. Thomas Voss from ADAC presenting third. Second place podium going to Karklees. So we've got ADAC reps handing out all three of the trophies here, including the team's trophy, which today goes to Honda Liqui-Moly Team Engstler. They pose for the picture. And, well, it's the last race of the day here at Oschersleben.